Consider this your trigger warning. The following program is strictly satire and is not meant to be taken seriously. So don't get all butthurt, you liberal snowflakes, just because we skewer your sacred cows and expose all your lies and hypocrisy. Truth hurts, and so does satire. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and enjoy the show.
All right, everyone, welcome back to a special Thursday edition of the Friday Free-for-All. I've got to start with this. Hey, I'm seeing some people in the comments section I haven't seen in a good long time. I see Brother Corey there, Diving Frog, and Hoosier, of course, Jason Walker. Folks, we got some good news and a couple of announcements. Right now, the moderator-in-chief, Uman, is operating from his mobile command center. So he's doing what he can to participate, help, look out. So he'll be in the comments either as Uman or as he might even be in there as Prepared Mind. In any way we look at this, folks, got some good news. The original Prepared Mind channel has been reinstated by YouTube. I sent them a nice email explaining to them that, well, if you're going to let other people back, you got to let me back. And you guys owe me back pay, just like the federal workers say that, well, you've been off for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, who knows how long. They expect back pay. Well, shouldn't I ask for that also? Anyways, yes, we're back there. So we're going to keep all channels alive. We've got almost 5,000 on the new Prepared Mind. We've got 80,000 still on the old Prepared Mind channel. Plus we have X. Plus we have the preparedmind.club. Plus we have subscribestar.com. Plus we have Facebook, Rumble, BitChute. We are going to come back and make a nice splash. My recommendation, if you're new, thumbs up and subscribe. Make sure you are subscribed. There are now 2 Prepared Mind channels available. Good golly. I don't just want to cancel one or the other because then you guys lose your contact. My recommendation is you stay subscribed to both. And of course, to X as well. We have one hell, and I mean one hell, of a censorship First Amendment war coming up. And we may get to our Second Amendment war. This is going to be treated like a free-for-all Friday. So get your questions, comments in, and we will pull them. We'll pull them and talk about them as we go. But I want to start with this. Yeah. We're in the middle of a First Amendment war. We're going to go to a Second Amendment. I'm going to give you a memory lane flashback. Do you all remember when hippie Democrats used to say things like, make love, not war, man? Well, they've come a long way, haven't they? They've come a long way because there's a certain specific type of a hell that they desire. So, and they're revealing themselves to you and me and the whole world all the time. I need you to definitely wake up and smell the coffee, right? Here's what this one person said. A Massachusetts woman has been charged with threatening to kill federal agents to their faces. I got to hand it to this crazy bitch. Why? Because she said it to their faces. This is what she is being quoted as saying. Charlie Kirk died and we love it. We're coming for you, gonna kill you. There is no hiding it anymore, folks. There is no escaping. There's no escape. These soulless communist murderers are showing their true colors. Are you prepared for the day that this happens to the whole country when they just start going nuts? Maybe in a purge type thing. Oh boy, I tell you, folks. Mr. Uman, I don't see any of the starred stuff, so we're gonna have some fun with this, folks. Haven't done a mobile command center in quite a while. But yes, these hippies, they're showing us who they are. Do you remember? Make love, not war. Now it's we want to murder you. They have revealed everything. 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 So let's do this. Gonna have some fun here. There we go. I got a starred one. Let's bring it on up because, on the Free for All Friday, this is a special edition of it. And folks, we're live everywhere. Live. We're going to shotgun it. So I'll do a question comment. You do a question comment. I do. We're going to go back and forth. So get your questions, your comments in. Redneck Roughneck writes, he writes, we need term limits. Mitchell fell again. Or Mitch, right? Who's he talking about? Well, let me put him back up there. Let's see. Here we are. I have this under Washington, D.C. fossil failure. That's right, folks. The fossil. Mitch Turtles McConnell falls down and takes a hard dive to the hard pavement, right? Now, what I want to know is this freezing up like a Microsoft program, or is this falling down like a Joe Biden? Right, this guy looks like he should be in a retirement home, quietly living out his golden years. I do not believe for a second that Mitch McConnell is capable of making sound decisions. He needs to be retired. Hell, I think it's worse than that, right? He should be removed from his office, and his wife and his staff should be charged with elderly abuse, in my opinion. That is my take on Mitch McConnell, Turtles Mitch, taking a tumble. All right. So let us continue, right? Oh, good golly. Okay. Let's see. Well, while we're on the subject of DC fossil failures, the disgraced Washington, D.C. bureaucratic fossil known as John Bolton, well, it looks like his indictment for his crimes are imminent. Imminent. Now, as much as I like to hear that his indictment is imminent, I want to see handcuffs. And they better handcuff his mustache too, right? This clown deserves the harshest of punishments. Why? Because he always pushes for war and death and destruction. That's his thing. That is what he loves. War, death, and destruction. Well, so this clown, John Bolton, he deserves the harshest punishment as well. Crime is crime. And if he's committed a crime, he needs to be charged for it. And treason has the death penalty. If he in any way is associated and tied into the Russia collusion hoax and the other treasonous activities that people like James Comey and John Brennan were engaged in, they need to be tried for treason. It's been too long, by the way, since America has hung traitors as a warning to our enemies. Have you noticed that? Have you thought about that? How come no one hangs for treason? It's because they're not being arrested. And after decades and decades and decades and decades of not arresting, not punishing traitors, what has happened? They think they can do whatever they want and get away with it. So, Ethel and Julius Rosenberg were traitors to the United States of America. And I believe they were hung, didn't they? Or were they shot? Or did they get the electric chair? Anyways, they got the death penalty. Ethel and Julius Rosenberg. Interesting name, don't you think? Rosenberg. I wonder what ethnicity they were. By the way, they worked for the Soviet communists. That's right, Russian Soviet communists. And we know who took over and started the Soviet communist movement and what their game was. Rosenberg, Yeah. That shouldn't come as a huge surprise to anyone. All right. Let's check in over here. I'm going to go with this. It is Big Daddy Doc 13, Semper Fi, brother. He says, nice, you made it back, Devil Dog. Crazy days are here. You will have a lot to cover. Well, I got to tell you, Big Daddy, I've been here all along. YouTube left, but I never did. YouTube left, but I never did. Meaning there's another Prepared Mind channel. It was the backup channel. Now it's the primary channel. So if you would, everyone, type in the search bar, the Prepared Mind channel, and you should get 2 Prepared Mind channels. One is going to be have 5,000 subscribers. It's like 48 and something. And the other one's going to have 80,000 subscribers. Make sure you're subscribed to both. Make sure you turn on notifications for both, because YouTube could wipe me out again real quick. Great to be back, though. Great to have everyone. Great to have our flagship original channel back up and rocking. Thank you, Big Daddy. And once again, Semper Fi, Doc. All right. Now, I want to finish. No, I don't think we can ever be finished. But I've got more DC bureaucrat, politician, fossil failures. And this particular Washington, D.C. fossil is kind of leaning towards sanity, believe it or not. And who would I be talking about? Be talking about none other than Democrat Senator Uncle Festerman. That's right, stunned. He is a stunning guy, stunned his audience that he was speaking to. And this is what he said. Quote, I know and I love people who voted for President Trump. Hey, he called him President Trump. How about that? So he says, I know and I love people who voted for President Trump. They are not fascists. They're not Nazis. They're not trying to destroy the Constitution. I refuse, says Uncle Festerman, senator from Pennsylvania. I refuse to call people Nazis or fascists. I would never compare anybody to Hitler. So, folks, the Democrat senator who has brain damage is the most sane and most articulate in the entire Democrat Party. Think about that, would you? Think about it. He's got brain damage, but he actually thinks more than Democrats are capable of thinking, right? How much more are Democrats lost if they are worse off mentally than Festerman? Once again, I think there is a serious problem out there having to do with the Jim Jones juice. By the way, everyone back on the original Prepared Mind channel, be sure and subscribe to the new Prepared Mind channel. So you got 2 in there. Subscribe and hit notification bell. Here we go. Understand this, folks. I can now say words like jab, and I still use some code words like VAXXX, so you know what that means. There's a little bit of code, but it's easy to understand. YouTube, on the other hand, says, we're going to check back in a month, John. Make sure you're behaving. So everyone, you don't have to behave. Just be yourselves. Understand the world we live in is an SHTF world. All right, let's check back in. What do you guys want to talk about? And we've got a super chat. How about this? Kate Bremer with a $10 super chat says, General Flynn for treason. I wish I understood more what you were trying to say there. General Flynn was arrested. General Flynn was framed by the FBI. General Flynn was released. I think the people that, I don't know if you're trying to say that General Flynn should be tried for treason, or if you're saying that General Flynn should be, the people that arrested him for treason, they need to be arrested and tried. Only enemies of the United States can be treasonous, right? Enemies or people. It's not that cut and dry, is it? It's a little bit of a complicated topic, but still. Anyways, Kate, I'm going to say thank you for the super chat donation. And if you would, try and get a little more clarification on your statements in there. And we'll see if we can answer things a little more fully. And I'm going to continue, if we shall, This is your show, though. Oh, well, I tell you what, let's just have some more fun. It is the Friday free-for-all special Thursday edition. Oh, the other part of the surprise, folks, I've got my family here in the state of Florida. I've got son, grandson, mom, sister, aunt. I've got a bunch of people that are down here to come visit. So I'm going to take some time off. So I may check in. I may do some posts. I may pop in for a live video if something extremely crazy goes off. But I'm going to take some quality family time, show them around the state a little bit, and give myself a chance to mentally recover from all the abuse that we have all been taking. But I'm not going to go away. I'm not unsubscribed. I'm not in YouTube jail. I'm just going to take some time off, and I'll be back the week of the 27th. Now, let's get into it, shall we? This is a good one. I'm going to go back to Redneck Roughneck. He says, they are all over Pelosi for not bringing in the National Guard on January 6th, 2021. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Uman. Okay. Everything's working good. And if you keep doing the stars, I'm good. All right. So back to Redneck Roughneck. Nancy Pelosi, 90 Proof Nancy, was trying to walk down the steps. She did not do a Mitch McConnell head plant on the concrete steps, but she does have people helping walk her along. Same with a lot of these old fucking Washington, D.C. fossils. These fucking fossils. Why don't they get little rascals or some sort of cart? Wouldn't there be more dignity riding around in a little cart, a little battery powered scooter, than to have someone holding you by your arms like you're being arrested? Or maybe that's just a position they prefer. In any event, yes, the media is now starting to ask quite loudly, why didn't you bring in the National Guard? Why did you refuse to bring in the National Guard? And Pelosi is in and continuing to be on the bubble for this. And she should be, because she is the prime, shall we say, mover behind the January 6th Fedsurrection, when 274 FBI agents were on the steps with American patriots, and they acted as agents provocateur. They acted as violent protesters. They committed violent acts and smashed window, destroyed property, just so all of the other Americans could take the fall. Oh, yeah, folks. They had their uniforms. They had special markings, hand signals, words, whatever it took for them, if they got arrested, words that they could say so that they could be unhandcuffed by the police when no one's looking. And that was even caught on video. That's why, remember, we have 14,000 hours of video footage of all of these Republicans committing heinous crimes. And then we found out, actually, no, there were not 14,000 hours of Americans committing crimes. There were numerous instances showing the police letting special protesters, and they don't want that out. All right, we've got Kate Bremer back with $10. Says Flynn was running the PSYOP, and look how much they did to cover up Epstein instead. All right. It is spy versus spy versus spy versus spy in Washington, D.C. Kate, thank you for the $10 super chat. The Epstein cover-up. The entire Washington, D.C. facade. I don't trust or believe anyone in Washington, D.C. anymore. I don't think of them all as good guys and bad guys. I think of them all as the bad guys and the good bad guys. They're all engaged in self-preservation, self-enrichment, self-aggrandizing, and self-glorification. Why would someone in their 70s, even their 60s, especially someone in their 80s or 90s, why would they want to be in Washington, D.C. when they could be at home relaxing, enjoying life with their families, their grandchildren and great-grandchildren? Why do they want to be in Washington, D.C. if it's not for their desire, absolute desire, to participate in whatever schemes are going on there, right? We talk about it, but I believe that the Democrat and Republican parties are a uniparty, two wings on the same dirty, dirty bird. I don't have any love or respect for them. Now, some are louder and propose that we believe their stuff, that they're more American, that they're good Americans, that they're not engaged in running psyops and screwing around and committing acts of treason, extortion, bribery. Right? That's all it looks to appear to be. From the outside looking out, looking inwards, you look through the mirror, all you see is people counting and stacking dollars. I have not forgotten about Ukraine having 27 biological weapons research facilities there, that Mitt Romney and Lindsey Graham and hell, all of Washington, D.C., right? They wanted to send money over there to enrich themselves, right? They're sending the money over there, laundering it, sending it back. The whole thing, folks, is a giant psychological operation to make us fight each other and fight over Washington, D.C., but who controls it? Who literally is this dark master out there? Would be nice to know, wouldn't it? Is it Obama running the whole show? No, certainly not Trump. They're just the faces of the opposing parties that we're supposed to root for, like they're a football or a baseball team. It is a sham. It is a sham. And they all seem to be playing a different game. Now, if you want to talk about who is actually running the show, you have to find out and discover who cannot be criticized, who is buying the politicians, and how would we know? Well, one of the ways we know is we look at lobbyist organizations and what the country does with respect to its foreign policy. Right? If we're not being governed by you and me, the people, the voters, and the government's doing things that benefit other nations and other companies and other peoples, well, then we find out who is running America. And we see a lot of that influence in AIPAC. We see a lot of influence in AIPAC, and we see a lot of influence from the World Economic Forum. Do we not? Yes, I think we do. I think we all see it and we all know better. In any event, Kate, Flynn was running the PSYOP, and look how much they did to cover up Epstein instead. Yeah, Epstein Island. That is not going to go away, Kate. That is going to come up again. Right now, the government shut down. It's funny, they took a 6-week vacation so they didn't have to vote on releasing the Epstein file. Now, right? Well, now the government shut down, so we can't do that. Funny. They say there's no Epstein files, no Epstein clients, no Epstein anything, but they keep shutting the government down when that's at the top of the list. These are a bunch of evil, evil fucking people. Never, ever forget it. All right. Let's continue. I'm going to give you some more DC fossil failures. Here's number 4. Hillary Clinton encourages her followers, Democrat followers, to join the radical nationwide protest movement, No Kings, because they hate President Trump. They think he thinks he's a king, and they're going to have this big protest, this No Kings protest this weekend. Well, understand this. Number 1, encouraging violence, which is what Hillary Clinton has done. That is, right, part of this no kings, left wing, BLM, Antifa, radical leftist stuff. She's trying to whip them up into a frenzy. But I think that their situation, their psyop, if you will, trying to get American civilians to become violent, I think they're in a bad situation. They're very weak, the Democrats are, when they have to dust off the Wicked Witch of the West to push their demented worldview. And I mean, look, nobody actually likes her at all. No Democrats like her, but they're trying to get somebody to light a fire under their absolute disgusting street urchins and not have odd people who are out there threatening law enforcement, threatening politicians, threatening people. They want gangs. They want entire cities to get violent. That's why people like Prickster and Gavin Newsom have been calling for resisting, right, the ICE efforts. Well, it's it's not just resisting. It's a whole lot more than that. So let's take a look and see who's up next. Mr. Uman, are you out there? Who do you want to put up next? I'll give you 3 seconds, and then I'm going to pick one myself. There we go. We got Badass Diving Frog, and he says, John, I see where Newscum, that would be Gavin Newsom of California, and his delegates have passed the mileage tax in the middle of the night. It's going to come down to them bringing it to us, and we vote on it. Politicians have been famous for passing laws in the middle of the night, especially when there's a war or an event or a fucking tragedy like the fire in Hawaii, the fires in California, etc., etc., etc. I've got to tell you, this mileage tax in California is going to go on top of a fuel tax, which goes on top of a tire tax, which goes on top of a registration tax, which goes on top of a licensing tax. That's just one more tax. Oh, and if you live in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, you've got bridge tax, right? Tolls, fees, taxes. It's all about enriching them, depriving us of wealth, independence, freedom. And this falls right in line with the Green New Deal, the Green New Agenda that the United Nations has, that Biden had. They passed it. This is why I'm not in California, folks. This is a big reason. Is they tax the ever-loving shit out of you. You pay sales tax, you pay unemployment tax, you pay state income tax, and you pay federal income tax, you pay Social Security tax, you pay disability insurance tax. It's crazy. Now, when I was in California, we voted on this thing way back in the 1990s to stop giving benefits to illegal aliens. You know what happened? It was a referendum. It was on the ballot, and we voted on it, and we passed it, and a judge, here we go again, a judge said, no, we're not doing what you guys want. We're going to do what we want, don't you know? And that was it. That was it. That was it for my belief that you could vote your way out of a problem. All right. Thank you, Mr. Diving Frog. And let's go with a topic here. The PSYOP. Kate wanted to talk about PSYOPs. Here's one for you, right? The SHTF lawfare is growing. Folks, we've got battles in Washington, D.C. that are political battles, that are psychological battles. You've got lawsuits everywhere. This is lawfare. These PSYOPs, us watching the left and right battle it out in the courts, supposedly for truth, justice, and the American way. Bullshit. It's all bullshit. Right? You know how a court case is going to turn out depending on who gets to pick or who is the judge that's picked to oversee it. A Clinton, Obama, Biden judge will always rule in favor of Democrats. And for the Trump appointed judges or the George W. Bush appointed judges, they're 50-50 going the other way anyways. It is a shit show. It is a crapshoot. But the Florida Attorney General, his name is James Uthmeyer, he has a Supreme Court lawsuit filed naming Gavin Newsom in California as the defendants over their sanctuary policies protecting illegal aliens. Now, normally, maybe years past, I would have cheered this on. Yeah, fuck them. But, well, what we've learned with, especially since Trump has been reelected, is who is the judge? We're going to have the court, really? We're going to trust the court? Well, the Supreme Court of the United States actually is the last one, if they take the case up, which is another problem we're having. But it's the last court that seems to have any intelligence on it. Or so it seems. And that basically is, Clarence Thomas and Justice Alito as well. So it's too bad, folks. The law, it's too bad that intelligence and decency even will be a part of the decision that comes to us, especially if it's a Democrat judge. All trials now, all lawsuits are now partisan. Judges, in my opinion, need to be removed with constitutional authority for violating their oaths, for willfully ignoring constitutional guidelines. We need to have, folks, literally, an El Salvadorian moment. All right. Uman almost got himself put up on screen there. We do. We need to have President Bukele of El Salvador removed all their judges and replaced them with new judges. And then they sent people to prison and they leave them in prison. Once you're found guilty, you've had your trial, you're done. You don't get to come out of prison. You're fucking done. It's got the safest country, I believe, in the Western Hemisphere now, because they locked their criminals up and they're done. Right? Now, with respect to our judges and our fights right now, both sides will claim they're correct. We know, right? The Democrats, our side is right. The Republicans, our side is right. And both sides refuse to accept the decisions of the other side. Democrats hate America, folks, and we all know it. That's why I believe, they are incorrect because we love America. They don't. They rule against the Constitution. And because of this diametrically opposed issue, you can't just go in there and remove these judges without a bigger political fight. But I think that needs to happen, and I think there's going to be an awful lot of violence. All right, this special Thursday edition of the Friday Free-for-All continues, and we've got Kate Bremer back with the hat trick on Super Chat donations, and writes, "Thanks, John, for the perspective. You're incredibly grounded and have a good mind. I appreciate your insight, and sorry for the tough topic." No, Kate, that's okay. That is just fine. I appreciate the tough topics. It's just sometimes, well, with a character like General Flynn, he's been active in American politics, the military, under the Trump administration, under the Obama administration, right, all over the place. Hard to, without a lot of details, understand what we're discussing. And that goes for all of these people. Who is Hillary? Who does she work for? Why is she protected? Right? What has she been involved in? Every fucking thing, it seems like. Obama, Comey, Brennan. And on the Republican side, you got Steve Bannon. You've got others that have been arrested, like Peter Navarro, seemingly for something ridiculous. But was there something else? What games, folks, go on behind the curtain that we don't see? And I think and understand this, that every last one of these people is to a greater or lesser degree involved in Jeffrey Epstein, his island. Will do, Uman. Let's see. Epstein Island, the Comet Ping Pong, the cheese and pizza, the pedophilia. They're either part of it and participating, they're aware of it and did nothing, they're aware of it and are fighting back. It is a crazy world. And if it weren't for people like you and me, Kate, everybody, if it wasn't for us, guess what? We wouldn't know about this. But someone gets a little whiff of some conspiracy, some accusations, and it gets out, and that's what happened. And that's why we need our people releasing information. That's why we have come to dominate social media, because we're not afraid to address the really scary, difficult topics. A lot of times we don't have enough information to really make a solid decision. But having said that, when you see criminality, if you and I can see it, you bet your ass the FBI or the CIA, the Department of Justice, they know all about it, and they've already got way more information than we could ever hope to, yet they're protected. They get away with everything they can. And they keep coming back, well, to the money trough and gorging themselves like pigs. That's why I think they keep coming back, at the risk of being thrown in jail or tried for treason and hung. Maybe that's why these fucking DC fossils won't go away, because if they leave Washington, someone might, well, they might shit on them. Kate, thank you for the great super chat donation. Kapow. And now we're going to go and see what else is on the scoreboard today. Once again, it's the Thursday, Friday free-for-all. And finally, folks, get this. We have some American scumbags, I'm going to call them traitors, who are being charged with terrorism. Not a hate crime, not being charged with murder, threatening officers. Terrorism. 2 Antifa, Trantifa thugs, right? They're freaks, and these people are always freaks. They've been charged with terrorism. First time ever. First time ever. They were part of the terror cell that tried to murder ICE agents down in Texas. I don't even remember that ambush and attack. I think all Antifa members need to be tried as terrorists for every crime that they've either committed or been a part of, either before or after the fact. Right? If we had Osama bin Laden, not Barack bin Laden, Osama. Anyways, no. If Osama bin Laden came over here and he said, I haven't done anything, I'm fine. We're like, no. You did this, you did that, you blew up this other thing, you're a bad guy. And he's like, well, I haven't done that in America. So that's what these Antifa people want to say is, well, you don't know what crime I've committed. Well, you belong to a terror organization. I'm sure you've committed plenty of crimes, but they've arrested these two. So obviously they know what they have done and participated in. And I think all members of Antifa need to be rounded up and tried as terrorists for every crime that their individual cells have done. Right? We're learning now that individual areas have names for their Antifa groups. They have meetings, they have communications, but it's just an idea, they say. It's just an idea. We're not a real organization, not a real group, really. Could have fooled me. Anyways, they need to be tried as terrorists, not as criminals, but as terrorists. Because as terrorists, they qualify for military trials as enemies of the United States, our nation. And I think that treason needs to be considered as a potential crime for any one of these people. It is, when you are conscientiously, intentionally, and with great gusto and hatred attacking the country, that sounds to me like treason, as well as terrorism. And you could say an act of war. You could say it's an act of insurrection. And how close is insurrection to treason? Does it or does it not make sense to say the two are almost synonymous? Right? Sedition is one thing, which would, I guess, be just undermining the government. But attacking the government, attacking the people, hating on the Constitution in America, claiming allegiance to Islam or a foreign army like the IDF, or I don't know, being a communist, calling for intifada. Those all sound like pretty treasonous things to me. Anyways, good to see that they're going to start charging these little freaks as terrorists. And what a great group to start with, Antifa. Well, they caught a BLM guy today. He committed crimes. One of these leaders at a local BLM chapter was arrested for fraud. Yeah, there's no limit. There's no limit. Let's continue, shall we, on this Thursday edition of the Friday Free for All. We got Jason Walker checking in. He says, John or Uman? Well, you got John. He says, what are the chances that Governor Jabba Prickster faces consequences for obstructing federal officials? Some people believe in parallel universes, Jason. You know, the multiverse. In our universe, we all see Jabba the Hutt Prickster, governor of Illinois, interfering with, impeding, obstructing federal officials acting in their official capacity with constitutional authority. We're seeing that. Yet he hasn't been arrested. He's telling law enforcement, both directly and indirectly, right? When you're in a position of authority and power and you hint, gee, sure would be a great idea if all law enforcement got in the way, refused to help these federal agents. You know, that's the same as telling them, refuse, impede, involve yourself, right? Obstruct justice, interfere in their things. And what we're going to end up seeing is we're going to end up seeing ICE, Department of Homeland Security, Border Patrol agents, officers in Chicago and the greater Illinois area. We're going to see them get injured. We're going to see them killed in the line of duty. And I think that Governor Jabba Prickster, I think he has now and will have in the future blood on his hands. You see, we've got people, apparently regular people, not just Antifa, not just BLM, not just communists, not just Islamists. Regular appearing people are acting up on the street. They're getting in their faces. They're getting involved. They're cornering, trapping law enforcement. They're following them. They're trying to film them. They're trying to dox them. That is, find out who they are, get their names, so they can go burn their houses down and kill their families, because those are the threats that are coming, because they're doing their job legitimately under de jure actual law. That's right, folks. We got some crazy, crazy business coming. Boy, I tell you. Oh, to answer your question directly, Jason, in this universe, in this world that we're living in, the odds of Prickster being charged, I'm going to put it 5%. Not very good odds. Put down a $5 bill, make 100, right? One will get you 20 in this case. Odds are extremely low. Because why? Well, because it is October 16th, 2025. Pam Bondi has been in office for 3/4 of a year and has not made any significant arrests. Giving an indictment and it wasn't an arrest warrant, right? They summoned James Comey to court. He wasn't arrested. That's not it's not an arrest. James Comey is the closest thing we have to an arrest, and that man has committed treason on multiple levels. And he conspired with Obama and others on multiple levels. I don't think the odds are very good unless, well, something breaks. Something comes off, right? And strips the teeth out of this thing. Great topic, though, Jason. Great topic. I want to advise everyone now that I've got both Prepared Mind channels back up and running, concurrent, tandem, if you will, with X, the preparedmind.club, which is our flagship internet site where you can get food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, communications, backup power. There's links there to get what you need, as well as sign up for premium service. Monday through Friday, typically, it is X and Subscribestar and the preparedmind.club. Everyone else, well, they're live. Everyone else is off. But for today, because of special circumstances and special announcement, I wanted everyone live. And here we are. Let's do this. Let's remove Jason there. Get prepared. And now, yes, we have all the channels here right now. And I've been talking for years and years and years and years about protecting yourself with all of those items: food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, right? All that. Also, if you have everything you need to be prepared, and I hope you have at least 1 month's worth of food and the ability to either store or purify water. I hope you've got that set. I hope you got that set. We've got trouble coming. If you've got money, I am not a financial advisor, but gold is now sitting at an all-time high at this very moment, $4,344, and that's the futures price. The spot price, I believe, is higher, which is backwardation, which means the system is broke. The monetary system is broke. The dollar is losing its strength. Inflation is very bad. The economy is exceptionally weak. Right now, there are some banks that are in big, big trouble. And the Dow went down 301 points today. We've got all kinds of trouble in the world, folks. And gold is going up. That's how you protect your wealth. Silver as well. Right now, it is sitting at $53.43, and that is the futures price. That's the futures price. The high of the day is 53.56, and it's sitting at 53.43. Above, it's gained $2 an ounce today, folks, and it's at an all-time high. The spot price is higher, of course. In fact, it's like $2 higher per ounce if you want to buy it off the market in, say, London from the LBMA. In any event, get your money, your wealth protected as much as yourself, right? You need 1 month's worth of food, a quarter, half a year. You need to protect yourself from these banksters, from the government and what it's doing. Crazy business out there, folks. Okay, we've got Courageous Cat did a $20 super chat donation. Thank you, Courageous Cat. No question, no comment in there. I really appreciate that. But yeah, I don't have a question, don't have a comment. Let's see, maybe there is a comment. I have to go in there and take a look. Man is, I think he slipped. He has slipped behind, how do I put this? Probably into the swamps or someplace out of range. In any event, Two Cox Sparky says silver. Yeah, silver. Silver's holding above 53. Okay, you guys were just talking about it in the comments section. It is, folks. It's going to be, there's going to be hell to pay at some point. SHTF is going to be monetary. That's why gold and silver. And that is giving us a clue, is it not? That's a pretty serious clue. When gold is just continuing to go up. It's not even taking a breather. It's climbing the mountain, a wall of worry. Silver, same story. Financial, monetary, economic, SHTF. Educational, entertainment, right? That is all psychological warfare, psyops. Military psyops. Who's controlling the military? The bureaucracy in Washington, D.C. Elections, it's all SHTF zone. Right now we have Democrats asking for paper ballots because why? Because a Republican bought Dominion voting machines, wants to have them scrubbed, cleaned, and programmed, and the Democrats are scared to death they're going to be programmed with a Republican favoring system. The United States Supreme Court has said also, folks, that, well, all these southern states that have gerrymandering laws that favor the Democrats, they're going to lose another 20 seats. because they're going to redistrict those states and avoid all this bullshit diversity, equity, and inclusion crap that they've been sneaking into the system itself for years. We have chaos coming. And it's going to get violent because this psyop involves everyone and everything from top to bottom, from left to right, all of us in America and hell, the rest of the world as well. Now, Stephen Miller, folks, in response to the comment about Governor Pritzker, Stephen Miller, who is the White House Deputy Chief of Staff. He looks like Squidward from SpongeBob. Just that very serious monotone, but the guy is a very sharp knife. So he went off today on Governor Jabba Pritzker from Illinois. This is what he said. Quote, this is what Stephen Miller said, quote, "He's a fool and a moron. He tries to keep murderers murdering." Right? Because Pritzker, this is why he said this, continues to reject Trump, federal troops, and bringing runaway crime under control in Chicago. Well, actually, Stephen Miller is correct. Democrats are destroying their own cities, counties, and states, and they don't care. You see, that's just it. They hate America, so they're kind of like the Islamists. They want to destroy the country so they can take it over in a form that they like, that they approve of. That's what they're up to. That's what they want. They want to destroy everything. Same with the Islamists, right? They want to destroy everything so they can take over and bring in Sharia law, right? Israel is sneakier. They're using AIPAC to buy politicians. In fact, a politician today, I don't know if he's currently elected or he's just running for election, has written a note, posted it on X, right, Twitter, and said he's giving all the AIPAC money back. He's going to provide everyone with evidence of that, the receipt. He doesn't want their money. He is becoming America first, America only. And I hope that starts a tidal wave of American politicians coming back to us, coming back to America. But folks, it's going to be a battle. It is going to be a fight. We're in an awful, awful situation. Right? We're in an awful situation. We're in all manner of SHTF. Everything except, I guess, right? Shooting in the streets. Okay, let's do this. I've got, holy bananas, we've got just over 5 minutes left. Let's do this. We've got indoctrination and brainwashing in our colleges. In fact, one of these indoctrination and brainwashing centers is called the University of North Georgia. And it has been exposed by one of their students for having a textbook that is referring to and calling American Christians, quote, it's calling them white supremacists. It's in a textbook. The Christians are white supremacists. Now, I'm going to go here and say, we've got Black Americans here. We've got Hispanic Americans. We've got white Americans. We've got Asian Americans. We've got Native Americans. We've got people from other countries that are on this channel, more than likely watching right now, that are Christian. I was talking with a good friend today. I think of him as a good friend. He is the urban Aboriginal, Rudy. And I was able to talk to him today. He called and I got him on the phone. Rudy happens to be Black, I believe. Christian. Is he a white supremacist? Well, if we listen to the Democrats, yeah. If we read their books, this is what they're teaching in schools. Christians are white supremacists. So I guess, hey, Rudy, welcome to the gang, man. Apparently, folks, this designation has been part of the Democrat plan for a long time. Christianity equals white supremacy. It's been part of their plan for a long time, and to indoctrinate kids, college students even, because they've incorporated it not just in the class, but into the textbook itself. There is no honesty, there's no shame or intelligence on the side of evil. What's interesting is the Bible literally calls this stuff out, that it's going to happen, right? There's going to be people that call evil good and they call good evil. There's going to be people that openly pronounce, right? There's going to be people that deceive others intentionally. Well, here we are, quite literally. All right. Thank you again, by the way, Courageous Cat. Can't remember if I gave you a follow-up. Thank you so much for that $20 super chat donation. Now, heading over here to Redneck Roughneck. He says, Lindsay, Light in the Loafers, Lindsey Graham. Yep. I think his nickname is the Ladybug. I think of him, he's more probably a butt bug. In any event, Redneck Roughneck says, Lindsay, Light in the Loafers Graham is still whining over his phone being spied on. What's he hiding now? He knows how bad, how we feel being spied on. Yeah, this is fascinating. You see, here's the law right through the middle of the screen, right? They think we're below the law. They think they're above the law. Except what do we have? Who is monitoring phone calls, emails, texts, any communication? Who's monitoring that? What's that thing called? It's owned by an Israeli company. It's a surveillance company that just got a big job, a big deal, a big contract, a big agreement signed with the United States government. Everyone knows who I'm talking about, right? I'm afraid to say the name because they might come after me. We'll see if it shows up in here. I'm going to leave that open. There's an organization, a corporation. Right? They're listening to everything. They're scraping everything. Yeah. And Lindsay Light and the Loafers, yeah. They found out they're being spied on. U.S. senators being spied on. Well, shit. Trump was spied on as a presidential candidate. Up. Man gets it first. He's the first one in to talk about it. This company's called Palantir. Oh, by the way, they're publicly traded on the stock market if you want to invest in a corporation that's authorized to spy on us all. It's part of their desire and their desire to know what we're thinking and then figure out how to combat it. That's what they want to do. They want to know what we're all thinking. And sorry, Lindsay, you're just a small cog on a little homosexual wheel in the government. You see, they think they're above the law. They're not. They're subject to it. And actually, in a lot of cases, this law right here is not even the one being referred to when I say the law. Right? The de facto, meaning of fact, government is not really our government. It's those pulling the strings, those with the power. Who's providing the information? Who owns the media? What country do these people who own the media have strong allegiance to or literal allegiance to? Right? Who owns the newspapers? Who owns the internet? Who owns the satellite TV? Who owns the search engines? Who owns these companies? Who owns Palantir? Who owns these corporations that we can't criticize? Who owns the countries we can't criticize? You know the answers. We all know the answers. And it's not the United States of America, which seems to be a wholly owned subsidiary of massive corporations and also government institutions that are, how many file folders full of pictures? How many file folders full of pictures do you think the Israelis and Palantir and the CIA and the FBI and MI6 and Europol, how many do you think they own? All of them. Hell, they told us this thing called Five Eyes, which is Australia, New Zealand, Canada, England, and the United States, the Five Eyes. The government of the U.S. has allowed the other four to spy on us, and then they take what they've spied on us and give it to the government so they know what we're doing. So that way they could subvert the Constitution. Courageous Cat steps back in and says, we are being surveilled, measured, tracked, categorized, and controlled by these companies. Now, companies are owned by countries. Yeah, right. There's a new one, right? Corporations. The East India Trading Company took over China for the English, the British, during their empire. It's a company, but it's MI6. It's the spies, right? It's like the CIA. They overthrow governments, right? We got all kinds of trouble, all kinds of stuff. Thank you, Courageous Cat. And thank you, everyone, for showing up. I'm glad to have everyone back. Remember, I'm going to be taking some time off to spend time with family, but I will be back. I'll be back on all channels. Make sure you're subscribed to all Prepared Mind channel social media. And on YouTube, make sure you hit the thumbs up and hit the notification bell. Bing! Hit the notification bell. So why? Right? So no matter where I'm at, if they shut something down, you'll know where to find me next. On X, Facebook is closed. You just have to get Jolene to let you in. Right? But we're all over the preparedmind.club. Don't forget, I've never forgotten about you guys. I've been fighting with YouTube this entire fucking time to get our original channel back. So between the two channels, we're back to 85,000 strong. We're good. Semper Fi. God bless America. I'll see you on the flip side. And if we get into big trouble, folks, you'll hear from me. You'll hear from Uman. You'll hear from Jolene. God bless you all. Thank you for your great support.